Hi, I'm Layla. I was locked out of my own family's gala, bleeding from my face, while my father raised a glass on stage and told everyone, "She's always chasing attention." They said I was unstable. They threw me out of the story I helped build, but they didn't know I still had the ending in my hands. Why did the people who claimed to love me need me gone so badly? The gala lights drowned the evening sky in shimmering golds and deep blues. Soft music floated through marble halls, laughter rippled like silk, and women in gowns spun under chandelier glow. I stood just outside the grand ballroom's doors, clipboard in hand, heart pounding with pride and an albatross of nerves. My palms were slick. I'd built every detail of tonight, every flower arrangement, lighting cue, seating map, but my name wasn't on one promotional banner, one social post or program insert. I straightened my plain black jacket, trying to match the ambient elegance. A guest approached, smiling brightly. "Who's the coordinator tonight?" Her companion replied without hesitation. "Oh, it must be Tentha. She's always so perfect." I smiled on the outside, calm, professional, but inside I waged a familiar war. Had I become invisible again? I had spent 6 relentless weeks preparing this celebration, calling in favors, negotiating the budget, sacrificing evenings at home. Tentha, my sister, stepped in only twice, once for flower approvals, and another time to film a light-hearted Instagram reel. She had the spotlight and the filters. At a family brunch the prior weekend, Dad had praised Tentha's designer taste for the venue. I'd arranged it, down to the HVAC settings. I said nothing. I'd long accepted my role. I make the engine run, Tentha gets to drive it. A cousin brushed past me, then chuckled, "Layla's always around when someone needs free help." I pressed my lips together, letting the remark roll off me. Nearby, a board member nudged another, whispering, "Isn't it sweet that Tentha lets her sister come along to watch?" A staff assistant handed me a badge that read, "Layla Chris, volunteer," a cruel misprint. I pinned it to my lapel, inwardly noting, it wasn't an accident. I took out my cracked phone, double-checked the seating chart, the vendor confirmations. I'll miss dinner to run logistics, but still hope tonight they'll see me. I hoped foolishly. By the catering station, I triple-checked wine orders when I heard 2 relatives across the room. "Of course they used Layla. She's always the cheap one." A voice huffed, "Cheap and desperate. Still living in that tiny rental, yeah?" My hands trembled as I straightened rows of wine glasses. I thought, I could remind them I bailed their son out of jail last Thanksgiving. But I won't. Let them forget. I moved with grace, forcing clenched teeth into composure, my face flushed cold. Every breath tasted of indignity. Then the crescendo. Tentha swept in, radiant in a gown that shimmered like moonlight on water. Paparazzi-style flashes followed her. Dad joined her quickly, hands clasped, pride in every public pose. I stepped in with seating updates. He brushed past and murmured without meeting my eyes, "Layla, can you adjust the lighting?" "Tentha's photos need more glow." Wanting to flare my anger, I held back and said quietly, "Yes, Dad." As he turned away, someone nearby said, "She loves attention, doesn't she? Always lurking around events like this." I heard it for what it was. They were erasing me with words and liking the silence when I complied. I slipped away to a bench near the emergency exit, where the dim lighting met the evening sky through glass doors. I looked up and saw stars, haunting in their permanence. I ran through the tally of my contributions. This entire gala, a business bailout, emotional support, logistical miracles. Why was I still just cheap help? Cold embers of determination sparked across my chest. They want me invisible. I'll give them something they can't ignore. A soft snap echoed. My heel broke. I stumbled back into the room, lips grazing a broken edge. Blood dripped slowly down my chin. Conversations halted. Before I could speak, Dad's voice boomed from the stage. "She's always seeking attention." Gasps swirled around me. I tasted the sting of iron and resolve. I would not vanish. I stepped back into the dimly lit service hallway, pressing myself against the cool wall just beyond the doors of the gala ballroom. My lips still throbbed where skin had met concrete, and the metallic warmth of blood felt surreal. Guests murmured behind me, curious glances, silent judgments, and phones flickered. A guard hovered nearby, uncertain whether to escort me or let me pass. My misprinted volunteer badge glowed under the overhead lights, labeling me Layla Chris, as though stacking the erasure deliberately. I drew a breath, sharp, held it, and exhaled quietly. If I scream now, their words become my anthem, so I didn't. Instead, I tucked my head low and fled behind a velvet curtain, where men shuffled in and out, burden-laden staff tensed, and the sound of champagne flutes echoed faintly. I let the darkness hold me, closed my eyes, and let each pulse steady itself. After a few minutes, I pushed through to the back rooms I'd memorized while planning logistics when no one needed to know who matched the decor. I searched for the staff-only doors where my emergency kit waited. A junior planner with clipboard encountered me, crisp and polite. "Sorry," she said, "this is only for event crew." I bit back the response that rose. I designed every inch of that ballroom. Instead, but I set it up. I worked to create every inch of tonight. She lifted an eyebrow, hands already reeled inward. Orders were made. Only crew. I nodded, took the hint. They'd removed me even from backstage. I retreated to the ladies' room and washed my face, towel pressing damp against the cut. Quiet laughter from the salon drifted through, too bright, too celebratory. My lips stung. I tapped my phone. A message from Dev. "Saw the clip. You okay?" My chest booked a tight space. In that moment, his words were a lifeline. I typed back, "I'm alive," and let the words sit unsent. Stepping out, my mind flicked to Tentha's laughter on social media stories. The camera's flash, her grin, champagne, applause swelling behind her. Dad standing proud beside her, plucking applause like a notable phrase. The screen glowed with her, with everything but me. As I scrolled, someone walked by, voice soft but sure. "Didn't Layla do all this work?" The next dismissed it. "Layla, she's just in the background." I heard betrayal like a whisper rewriting destiny. Pulling open the Notes app, I pressed record. Audio memo, not for posting. My face was bleeding. They posed for the cameras. That's not just family politics, it's warfare. My voice echoed in the small room, carrying my resolve in whispers. I left the restroom and paused in the hallway, catching my breath. A young waiter, Marcus, appeared with a bottle of water and a fresh bandage in hand. "I saw what happened," he said softly. "You don't deserve that." I placed the bandage on my lip, startled at the kindness. "Why do I keep letting it happen?" His brown eyes were gentle yet raw. "Because you still hope they'll change. That's what keeps you here." That hit harder than anything else in hours. I closed my eyes, tears teasing behind the barrier. Time to stop hoping. Marcus gave me a nod, stepping back so I could wipe my face in private. I found a table near the exit, set my phone to record, typed receipts, texts, emails, all of it. I began cataloging my role in this gala, every vendor call, every vendor payment, every schedule adjustment, slowly reconstructing history in data and words. Outside the ballroom, the party pulsed. I could hear music, swell of laughter, the warmth of celebration drawing on. Two worlds against each other. Inside, superficial perfection. Outside, my quiet blueprint of labor and care. My mind flashed to a memory, age 8 or 9, talent show behind me, tears hiding in the wings. My father scolded, "The camera's not for tears." That memory had taught me early. Emotions are soft enemies when spotlight demands control. Tonight, I replayed it, softer now, stronger. They trained me to be quiet. Watch them regret that. Opening a new note, I typed, "Operation Memory." I tucked the phone into my wrist, breath evening out, resolve hardening. My phone vibrated. I saw caller ID, charity board president. My heart hit my chest. "Hey, Layla," he said, voice polite and unaware. "Just wanted to confirm we'll credit you as lead coordinator in the program, yes?" The shock zipped through me. All this time, they thought I didn't exist. Then he says I'm central. I didn't answer at once. I stared at the screen, jaw tight. I wake to the dull ache in my lip and head, physical reminders of last night's unraveling. The first morning light creeps through half-closed blinds over my Charleston apartment. My phone lies beside me, untouched. No buzzes, no missed calls, not one from any of my family. Complete silence. And somehow, it echoes louder than any accusation. I switch on the local morning news. My father is speaking with practiced ease on television. The anchor's voice drips with admiration, and I watch as Dad's words fade before they reach the moment I stumbled off stage. His eloquence is sharp. My name, my presence, is invisible. I whisper to the empty room. I was never supposed to exist last night. I push myself up, reach into the drawer where I keep a stack of journals and a USB drive marked, "In case they bury me alive." I trace the words with trembling fingers. These records exist because I anticipated erasure, whether intentional or quiet. I tuck them under my arm, a lifeline, a map of what was done and what's to come. I'm 19 again, strapped to a chair at my father's banking gala, fever cooking through my skin. My mother's voice echoed behind me. "You're not sick. You're just needy." The crowd smiled for the cameras. I sat, skin damp, lips tight. I didn't cry. Then at 15, a statewide academic award tied to an undefeated science fair project. The stage had been arranged, the lights paid for, my name printed on the certificate. But the same night, I skipped the ceremony to help Tentha choose her pageant dress. My triumph fell into her shadow, I tell myself now. My nasal voice taps reminders. They only see me when they need something from me. Maya Angelou's words come to mind like a prophecy. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. My apartment still carries the scent of last night, perfumed air from guests lingering, and something metallic from my lip. My email pings unexpectedly. Subject: "You weren't supposed to see this." Attached, a photograph. It slows time. There I am, draped in blood, father stepping away, security arm raised. A caption reads, "Security detail mishap outside Charleston Legacy Gala." Me, visible for once, raw and human. I download it. Proof, one JPEG. No filter, no veneer. I pull out every old voicemail and message. I categorize them. Erasure, blame shifting, guilt traps. I stick colorful post-its to the wall, creating a timeline of manipulations and fading acknowledgments. My apartment becomes a command center. I sketch out dates, names, oversights, half-truths. I whisper into the quiet. If they wanted to erase me, I'll write the story first. Eleanor Roosevelt's voice hums in memory. "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. I don't cringe, I consent to nothing." Suddenly, a knock. Dev stands in my open door, holding soup that smells like home. His hand hesitates before he places it on the table. "Saw the clip," he says quietly. "I didn't know how bad things got." I stare at the steam rising from the bowl. He sat there, years back, during a family crisis, left me then, saying, "I couldn't fix something you didn't admit was broken." I nod now slowly. "It's broken," I say. "You were right." He looks at me with steady eyes. "You look like someone who's finally going to win." No denial. Just raw clarity. He's not here to fix or save me. He's here to remind me that clarity is its own ally. Later, my phone glows. A calendar invite sent by my mother's assistant. Mandatory family PR meeting, this weekend. Attached is a draft statement. Layla was under emotional distress and regrets her actions. My face goes still. They package me as unstable. Distress is the only thing they've ever allowed me to feel. I close the laptop slowly, breath even, but sharp. The air tastes like resistance. I arrive at a sleek, glass-paneled high-rise downtown, my reflection fractured in its polished surface, feeling both exposed and resolute. The weekend air is crisp, Charleston humidity forgotten behind these steel doors. I step inside, clutching my coat over a tailored blouse, dress code modest but intentional. A quick nod to the receptionist, and I'm ushered into a cold conference room. My father sits at the head of the table, stern and poised. Beside him, my mother, immaculate posture, soft smile, perfect pin-straight hair. Across from them, the PR director clears her throat. He opens the meeting with practiced gravity. We're here to prevent further damage, to protect everyone's reputation. The director's eyes never leave her notes. The message is clear. Tonight's emotional fallout must be contained. I force a polite smile. Damage control, not truth repair. A printed statement is placed before me. Layla regrets her emotional outburst and disruption at last night's gala. I read it, the paper weighing like lead. An apology I didn't owe, offered for optics. Before I can pinpoint the omissions, my father cuts in. It's what's best, for your reputation and ours. No hint of compassion, only calculation. My breath ticks inward. The draft ignores my bruised lip, the humiliation, the bloody moment in full view online. Its image sanitized, story rewritten. My mother leans forward, voice soft as silk but laced with steel. This is your last chance to show you're still part of this family. A conditional love drips in her words. I stare down at the paper. They want my silence to be my contribution. My hand folds the page, edges creasing. No tear of rage, just a quiet refusal. The PR assistant slides across a folder, thick with legal print. I open it to find my trust fund frozen. The cold truth, no more automatic disbursements. Dad clears his throat. We're not cutting you off, just making sure you're stable. Months-old clause activated by public incidents, a trap I didn't know I'd fallen into. The safety net snapped. I hold the folder tightly. So this is love in legal form? My voice is steady, though my heart races. I pause, scanning the room. The PR director taps a pen nervously. My parents sit composed, expecting compliance. I breathe and gather my wits. I think of protests in college, standing on campus against policies, voices that mattered because I refused to be silent. I weigh dignity against survival. How much is my silence worth? I lift my chin. I will not sign a lie, no matter how sweet the packaging. My words hang. My father's eyes flicker. Then he says, cold and final, then you've chosen to become the enemy. That was no warning. It was sentencing. I gather my belongings, my grandmother's locket, my notebooks, my spine, and stand. Without a word, I push out. In the hallway, the PR rep's voice follows, soft. We've arranged an article in the Gazette for Monday. They're writing the narrative without me. Rain starts to fall as I exit the building. The street glistens. I tilt my face up and let rain mix with tears. Drops run down my cheeks. Maybe this was exactly what I needed. They were never going to see me. A stranger opens an umbrella for me. I step aside, shaking my head with quiet resolve. I am done hiding. My phone buzzes in my hand. Dev's message reads, I found something you need to see. It's about your father. And it's bad. I step into the hush of a late-night cafe, tired muscles protesting the walk from my apartment. Charleston's street lamps filter gold across the wooden floor, quiet, almost reverent. Dev sits at a corner booth, leaning over a small table. He pushes a coffee toward me, its warmth seeped into porcelain. I slide into the seat, and he hands me a flash drive and a folder. What is it? I ask, voice low, controlled. He exhales. Your legacy. And more. He opens his laptop, email threads hidden from my family, a legal agreement with a lobbying firm that defended a doctor in a malpractice case tied to a patient's death. I freeze. My finger traces the client's name. It becomes clear, this isn't about preserving good name, it's about rewriting history. I remember that patient, a hospital I volunteered at years ago. Something about that case always nagged at my gut. Now, I see why. My father is not just a whisperer of family image. He's a silent guardian of darker truths. Shoulder tight, I look up. Dev's gaze is steady. If you go after this, he says quietly, he won't just exile you, he'll erase your career. The words settle in me like stones. I leave the cafe into sultry night air, the drive humming beneath me, and walk with purpose toward home. My hands tremble, but I record a voicemail to my father. I open my voice app. You taught me silence is elegant, but I've decided honesty is louder. I press record, speaking calmly but intentionally. Don't call me until you're ready to face the truth. You know what you did. I end the message, let it linger unsent. I don't need to hear his voice. This was my statement. Hours pass. The recording goes unread. At midnight, a knock startles me. It's my mother, shoulders squared in pearls and coat like she never left the gala. She steps in, voice lilting. Honey, you okay? I see the shift. This isn't comfort, it's strategy. Her words swirl. That voicemail was hurtful. If you'd just let this go, you'd still be part of this family. I hold my gaze. He's contributed plenty to the city, she says. Maybe step back for now. It's not concern, it's containment. I think, she's not here to help. She's here to warn me. My voice firm. If this is your idea of love, I'll take my chances with truth. Her response, you've always been the difficult one. She leaves. I delete her voicemails, block her number. The finality feels heavier than anything before. I back up Dev's files, 3 places, so no wipeout can erase me. I write a note. In case something happens to me. The city skyline glows through my window. I whisper, truth doesn't beg to be loved. It demands to be seen. I draft plans, legal counsel, public release, outreach. Fear's still there, but it's winged now. I don't need them to be family to be whole. Then, my phone chimes at 3:07 a.m. I open the email. From my father's lawyer. You're making a mistake. I sit by my apartment window on a Sunday afternoon, watching the live stream of the Magnolia Foundation brunch. My family stands on stage, glowing faces and polished words. My sister Harper speaks about family unity in healing trauma. Her tone warm, practiced, measured, but it's my private therapy language, the phrases I once whispered into silence. She's taking my pain and packaging it as virtue. The hypocrisy stings. A friend texts me, "Is that you they're quoting?" Her screenshot shows Harper's line, "Some wounds in the family heal best when ignored." My throat tightens. Out there, people are buying that narrative. My vision narrows. The noose feels like it's being tightened around the truth. I reread the words, and then the blog article that hits me like icy rain. An anonymous post claims I was institutionalized years ago. Concerned family insiders are quoted, whispering about my mental health struggles. My phone explodes. Some messages convey pity, others disgust. And I stare at the screen. The betrayal hits harder than any blow. My father weaponized my reputation. Everyone is convinced I'm broken. My voice crescendos inside me. They always said I was dramatic. Now they put it in the public record. Later, I return home and find a taped eviction notice on my door. My lease terminated by my father's company, the guarantor. I check my bank account. Rent auto withdrawal failed due to frozen funds. No warning, just paperwork. I hold my breath, watching memories, old family photos, focused on that apartment, pile up in my mind. Every box I pack feels contaminated, like each childhood keepsake has been poisoned. They're not just erasing me emotionally, now they're erasing me logistically. I switch camera to record myself, voice steady, tearless. Family should feel like home, not a campaign strategy. I gesture at the necklace in my hand, an heirloom from my mother. The weight of its symbolism sits like lead. Then I hold it above the Charleston River's edge and release it. Silver necklace arcs, then disappears into dark water. That was the last piece they held over me. I send this video to Dev and my lawyer, sealed with one line, "Release if anything happens to me." Then I scroll through supportive messages from strangers, patients, former students, people I helped. Maybe family isn't blood. Maybe it's who doesn't flinch when you bleed. Maya Angelou's words echo. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. I close my eyes, resolve blooming inside. Later, a letter slips through my door. Not from mom or dad, but Harper's ex, Steve. The envelope reads, "I know what they did to you. I have proof. But you need to meet in person. No phones." My pulse hammers. The calm of Sunday lies shattered by urgency. The storm just gained wind, and I have to choose: run or stand in the gale. Evening light filters through my living room window, painting shadows across my desk piled with notes and folders. I sink into my chair, coffee gone cold, and stare at the laptop screen. Live TV has hijacked my quiet night. A talk show blares. Where was Layla that night? The host's voice rings hollow, citing anonymous insiders who call me unhinged, unreliable, a liability. My breath catches as a slick image of my sister, Tentha, flashes alongside the label Family Unity. I grip the edge of my desk, voice trembling inside. They built a graveyard of lies and called it a foundation. Fingers shaking, I open the folder marked Evidence and begin sending its files to my lawyer, media contacts, trusted friends, letting light shine on hidden truths. As I click send, my phone erupts in notifications. Social media feeds ignite. Where is Layla? Hashtag hidden truths begin trending. Dev's video resurfaces. Some comment with outrage, others with disbelief. A text from a friend arrives. "You're not in this alone anymore." People see through the facade. Somewhere, a swelling of support starts to drown out the fallout. The battlefield grows crowded, and I realize I'm not the only one fighting. My lawyer calls to confirm legal details. As a co-owner in the family's foundation, I still have rights. The suspension of my stake breaches bylaws. With renewed resolve, I draft a press release referencing those violations, pointing out deliberate exclusion. I quote Thurgood Marshall, "Where you see wrong or inequality, speak up." I send my statement to every news outlet, my lawyer, Dev, loud and clear, no longer on defense. This is accountability, not reaction. Later, I walk along the Charleston riverfront under a midnight sky. The salt air and quiet water help steady my nerves. I think of legacy. Not the one I was handed, but the one I will build out of truth. Toni Morrison's words drift into my mind. If there's a book you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. I clear my social media, profile photos replaced with a simple text, "Not yours to erase." Back in my apartment, I sit with a cup of tea as my fingers tap out guidelines for interviews, legal strategy, terms for family. Should they attempt reconciliation? I set boundaries. This isn't vendetta, it's veracity. My phone buzzes. A message from Tentha appears. "You're going to regret this." I breathe in, smile a little, maybe, but I already forgave myself. A final ping breaks the quiet, a notification blinking on the screen. The gala venue, event location of so many family functions, has canceled all bookings under their name. Reason: unavoidable reputational reasons. The structures built to elevate, built to exclude me, are crumbling without needing my hand. The ghost they thought they buried is now the new architect. I arrive at the venue just as dusk yields to evening. The space feels electric, crystal chandeliers casting warm gold, murmurs of anticipation swirling through the air. I don't walk in as a guest, though. Tonight, I'm the surprise keynote speaker, unexpected, unannounced. I've negotiated this moment in whispers and legal briefings. As I step onto the stage, I feel all those erased moments cluster behind me, fueling my stride. In the front row, I spot them, my parents and Tentha. Their faces are taut, confusion flickering in their eyes. For years, they framed me as unstable. Now, I'll frame the story they tried to bury. My breath steadies. I lift the microphone like a beacon and speak. I begin softly with a childhood memory, loving the piano at age 9, playing that concerto for Dad's corporate gala, unaware I'd be erased as soon as the camera shifted to Tentha's applause. I trace that memory forward through the gala fall, the live stream brutalities, the eviction notice. The words tumble out, the emails, the photos, the proof that I was bleeding, literally and figuratively, while everyone else posed for the cameras. Can't everyone see who was bleeding and who was celebrating? I ask the crowd. Silence blooms. I scan the room as stillness falls, voices frozen. I read aloud a line I never wrote. I'm not here to be forgiven. I'm here to be seen. Pause. Drop of breath. Then, this is the last speech I was ever supposed to give under their rules. A faint click echoes as I lift the mic stand slightly, step back. No dramatic flourish, just quiet, resolute closure. The hush is deafening. Time lags. Then, something brushes my arm. Dev is there, unassuming but unwavering, camera rolling discreetly. In the audience, phones light up. Comments flood the live stream. Truth, courage. Finally. I watch that wave cascade. It's not applause, it's recognition. Backstage, I gather with Dev and my lawyer. The adrenaline has drained, leaving a raw clarity. This wasn't about revenge. I'm not vindictive. It was about restoration. I lean on Dev, letting myself exhale for the first time in months. They chased me out, I say, voice fragile and firm. But I came back with my voice. Dev just smiles. Now you're unstoppable. Word spreads quickly. Alerts buzz. Media want interviews. I peek at headlines being drafted, all in bold, centered on me. Finally, I'm seen. On phones across the world, overnight, I've become someone people watch. Not because they know me, but because I raised my voice. Inside that glow, the foundation board emails arrive. They've canceled the upcoming family portrait plans and requested inclusion of me instead. White letters on blue screen. Corrected inclusion requested. Tears sting my eyes, not of sorrow, but vindication. People I've helped in earlier chapters, patients, students, strangers, reach out. I believe you, they say. A chorus of voices, unafraid. It hits me then. My suffering has become someone's hope. I step outside onto the balcony overlooking Charleston's harbor. The lights flicker on the water. Quiet, but charged. My fight reached beyond my name. It became a beacon. Late at night, my phone buzzes. Dev sent me a video labeled, "Play when you need to remember why you fought." I open it. My grandmother's voice fills the room. My light never left you. I press my hand to my heart. Dawn light filters in through the blinds, slicing the quiet of my nonprofit's modest office. The framed motto on the wall, "Let truth be your anchor," whispers solace this morning. I wake with leftover echoes of last night's speech, a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. My heart settles into a steady rhythm as messages flood in, community leaders, journalists, even former detractors, all extending support or requesting interviews. My phone vibrates, alive with possibility. I sip coffee, steadying the tremor in my hands. I realize the story has shifted, no longer a whisper behind closed doors, but a beacon of clarity in public. Their silence wanted to bury me. Instead, I handed them a sentence they couldn't ignore. And now? Now it's time to rebuild. On my terms. I sort through messages from people whose lives were touched by what I said, and by what I didn't say before. Their words, stories of courage, of feeling seen, light up the screen. I trace a trembling finger over a letter from my grandmother, written just this morning. My light never left you. Tears blur my vision. That final gift completes my emotional arc. My drive and purpose crystallize. Carefully, I craft a small exhibit in the office lobby. I frame my grandmother's letter, intertwined with quotes from community members who've shared how this story gave them permission to speak. Photographs of my grandmother, stoic and wise, anchor each frame. These are not mere remembrances. They're a living legacy, a life call, not just proof. I place it where visitors and staff can see it every morning, a daily charge to stand firm in truth. Later, I step onto the stage at a local empowerment gathering I organized for women. I'm not repeating my drama, I'm sharing testimony. I recount my journey not as victim, but as testament to resilience. I quote Michelle Obama, "When they go low, we stand tall." The audience reacts, applause, some tears, kinship in the look of survivors, professionals, mothers. In their eyes, I see shared humanity and a new kind of family. That evening, alone in my apartment, I watch highlights of the event on my phone. I realize my fight wasn't with my family, it was with erasure itself. I record a message to my parents, not begging forgiveness, but acknowledging healing. We were broken. I'm healing. I press send, and the message drifts into unread territory. That's okay. I whisper to myself, I don't need your validation. I validate me. I open my calendar and map out the road ahead. Speaking engagements, new workshops, scholarships in my grandmother's name, safe spaces, mentorship programs, maybe a documentary someday. I place the grandmother's letter on my desk as daily inspiration. Maya Angelou's words come back to me. We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. My eyes harden, not from bitterness, but hope. This is my legacy now. Notification pings late at night. A news alert flashes. Family Foundation board chair resigns amid misconduct revelations. The winds of consequence are beginning to gather pace. Justice wasn't something I planned. It was what found me. The hallway at the center smells faintly of lavender and wood polish. It's quiet now, almost reverent, just an hour before the next workshop begins. I move slowly, letting my fingertips trail along the smooth walls where art from women in the community now hangs proudly. Each piece, raw and unvarnished, tells its own story. Pain, rebirth, forgiveness. These aren't gallery works, they're declarations. One canvas draws me in more than the rest. A single figure, faceless, painted in bold reds and deep blues. Beneath it, the artist has written, I screamed, but now I sing. I stand there a moment, letting it wash over me. That scream? I've known it. But the song, that's what we're all learning to carry now. Across the room, a quote is framed in bronze just above the welcome desk. Maya Angelou's voice, quiet but uncompromising. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. My throat tightens, not from sadness, but recognition. I'm not surprised anymore. I'm aware. That's different. That's freedom. I turn toward the community room as a woman steps through the doorway, tentative but composed. She's the evening's guest speaker from a local women's shelter. Her name's Rhonda. We shake hands, and her grip tells me she's steadier than her voice lets on. She straightens her scarf, breathes deep, and steps forward to the circle of folding chairs already gathering. She begins. I used to think silence kept me safe, but it just made me invisible. Her words aren't polished, they're etched. I sit in the back, not to hide, but to witness. Rhonda glances at me mid-sentence. When I saw that woman, on stage, telling her truth, I realized I could too. It hits me harder than applause ever could. I share something too, not to center myself, but to join the flow. Years ago, I spoke up in a room of people who told me I was wrong for doing so. But tonight, every voice here adds to a wave bigger than any silence. There's no standing ovation. Instead, there's a long, collective breath, a room full of women nodding, not just in agreement, but in understanding. Be on your own side. I quote Maya again. The words land like soft thunder. After the session, while most are clearing out, I return to my office and draft a short message to my parents. I've closed one chapter. I'm writing another. I hope one day you can read it. I don't send it with expectation. It's not bait for reconciliation. It's a bookmark, a line between then and now. My phone buzzes, not from them, but from names I don't recognize. Messages pouring in from support groups, online circles, women I'd never met. Your courage gave me courage. One includes a scanned drawing of a small boat titled Layla's Lighthouse. I exhale slowly, sitting back in my chair. It's not that I've let go of wanting a family. It's that I've begun to see I'm building one now, piece by piece, soul by soul. Later, with the sun dipping behind the center's courtyard wall, I step outside. Paper lanterns swing gently above the paved walkway. A few volunteers linger, chatting softly, carrying folded chairs, wiping tables. I offer a wave, then find a bench near the flower beds. I open my notebook. There's still so much to build. A scholarship fund in Grandma's name. A storytelling curriculum for teens who've never felt heard. Mentorships, ones that start with trust, not tests. My pen glides across the page. Healing isn't a finish line. It's a garden. The image holds. Gardens need water, shade, patience. Inside, the framed note from Grandma remains in its place. Ink slightly faded now. My light never left you. The line means more with time. At first, it felt like comfort. Now, it feels like commission. Back inside, I sit at the desk and hit record on a voice memo, just for me. I came from silence. Now I build spaces where silence no longer defines worth. I'm not replacing the family that cast me out. I'm redefining what family means. I send a quick message to Dev, thanking him again for showing up every time I didn't think anyone would. He simply replies with a heart. No words, none needed. I pause, reflecting on what so many called closure. But closure was never what I wanted. I wanted honesty. I wanted breath. I wanted to know I wasn't crazy for remembering it differently. Some things don't return to how they were. They don't need to. They evolve. They root. As I dim the office lights, ready to call it a night, a small package catches my eye on the front desk. No return address. I open it, careful. Inside is a framed invitation, printed on thick cardstock, wrapped in navy silk ribbon. National Conference on Family Empowerment. Designated guest. Layla M. Connors. My heart doesn't race. It opens. There's more to say. More to sow. I slip the invitation into my bag and head toward the door. The gala lights pool in sparkling halos across the elegant reception hall of my newly established foundation's headquarters. I wear my grandmother's necklace tonight, once discarded by family, now reclaimed. The iridescent stone catches flashes of camera bulbs, reminding me I'm not hiding. The space hums with familiar warmth. Survivors, neighbors, community leaders who stood with me when I was invisible. The air is thick with acknowledgement, not pity. I step into the center of the room, glass raised in hand, gaze steady under the media's watchful eyes. I feel their weight. I feel power. They tried to erase me. Now I shine. In the spotlight I earned, I clear my throat. The clinking fades. To justice earned, voices heard. May no one be erased again. Light applause rises, a wave of recognition fueled not by sentiment, but by solidarity. As I sip my drink, the large screen behind me flickers to life unexpectedly. Silence ripples through the crowd. The ex-boyfriend of Tentha takes over with documentary footage, unedited, unfiltered. On screen, Tentha is caught admitting she was always on the payroll, not our blood, that carried this around. The betrayal is cinematic. The room stiffens. Cameras whir, capturing every broken lie. Gasps and murmurs echo. Whispers. Finally. She did it. Wane into reverent pause. No vengeance in my gaze, just clarity. Vengeance fades. Justice stays. I quote Thurgood Marshall, his voice a clarion bell. Where you see wrong or inequality or injustice, speak out, make it, protect it, pass it on. Facebook, +9. Brainy, quote, +9. Biography, +9. The weight is heavier together, grounded in action. Heart steady, I step forward. I will not ask forgiveness, because this isn't about grace, it's about action. I announce the foundation's separation from family ties. Decades of betrayal cannot pollute the mission ahead. I introduce the Grandmother's Light Award, a scholarship in memory of her quiet power for survivors who speak truth to power. Legacies aren't inherited, they're built, one brave step at a time. The room blooms into restrained applause. No pity, just resolve. That night, the story moves outward. Headlines blaze. Tentha and her father's foundation face legal scrutiny, investigations into financial mismanagement. I open messages from legal teams across the country offering pro bono help to others who've been silenced. Dorothy Day's words circle in my mind. Don't worry about being effective. Just concentrate on being faithful to the truth. Medium. This ripple isn't metaphor, it's building. Later, I slip out to the balcony overlooking Charleston Harbor. City lights drift like constellations on the water. The night is gentle. I breathe deeply, letting go of survival. I'm not chasing a legacy. they can keep theirs. Try to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. Maya Angelou's words echo, delicate and potent. Asquotes.com. I release the urge for revenge. In exchange, I commit to illumination. My phone dings. A new email blinks on the screen. Invitation to speak at the National Justice Summit. The game changed long ago. Now my voice won't just be heard, it leads. I turn back inside with quiet certainty.